Fellas, I hope you're feeling okay because I'm about to upset Uncle P. Obviously, yeah. I mean, we got to talk about his Celtics. He's won a championship with them. He's been a Finals MVP with them. Last year, it felt good because they were in the Eastern Conference Finals, but this year, they're teetering and make it into the playoffs, Uncle P. So I got to tell you, they're under 500. What or who would you blame, I guess, for the Celtics' struggle so far this season if you had to put it on someone?
Well, it's hard to really try to blame one person. They've dealt with, coronavirus issues. They've dealt with injuries to Marcus Smart and Kemba Walker. And so it's hard to put the blame on any one person. But, when you look at the Celtics, they just don't move the ball. Their offense is not crisp. There's one of the worst passing teams in the league. They're middle of the pack on defense. So it's a combination of things. Not only the injuries. Of course, Jason Tatum and Brown are having all-star years, but it's not equating to wins. And it's just like, give them the ball and have them make a play. But, on the other end, they're not playing defense and they're not moving the ball. So, it's tough. It's tough right now.
Paul, you must have seen Deshaun Watson's tweet about loyalty. He's talking about coronavirus, injuries, offense, passing. He ain't saying name, Maria.
He didn't. I asked him who's to blame.
It's hard to put. It's a team sport. It's hard to put it on one person. I mean, it's a combination of things.
Okay. I got you, legend. That's why your number in the rafters. I'll put a name on it, Maria.
Okay.
Danny Ainge. The same person that put it together, by the way, a terrific GM. Mm-hmm. He is the guy that drafted Jason Tatum, drafted Jalen Brown, drafted Marcus Smart. Like, he's really good at his job. But when he had all of those assets, I felt like he had a chance to cash in his chips, and he didn't. Mm-hmm. And that led to a domino effect of them losing productive players around the league.
Yeah.
You don't get better by losing those numbers. Kemba Walker was a third-team All-NBA performer when he went to the Celtics. He's not an all-star this year. All of those guys are playing terrific basketball. So at this point, I have to say Danny Ainge.
Okay, so they're obviously missing some pieces. Jay Will, let's get to the professor on what he's seeing on the court. Go ahead, Jay Will.
I hear what you're saying, Jay Rose, on Danny Ainge, but how about Brad Stevens? I mean, I know it's been a tough week for him, a root canal, identity theft. How about when it comes to motivating players on his team? Jay Rose, listen to this. The Celtics are currently in the 9th spot right now in the East. Let's talk about teams 4 through 9, right? Indiana Pacers, how many All-Stars do they have? 0. The Toronto Raptors, how many All-Stars do they have? 0. The Knicks, how many All-Stars do they have? They're 6, they got 1. The Bulls, they're 7th, they got 1. The Hornets, they're 8th, they got 0. The Celtics have 2 All-Stars, man. So it's yes, I hear what P's saying about passing and being middle of the pack defensively, but you still got guys that can go. It needs to come from the voice from within. I know they have Marcus Smart, but Brad Stevens need to have some blame here.
Yeah, so how did the Celtics get better from here? What Danny Ainge does have going for him, about a month away now to the trade deadline. They've got all their future first-round picks available in deals. They got a $28 million trade exception from the Gordon Hayward deal that allows them to take a big salary or any salary in to their roster. But what they don't have right now is a great marketplace to make deals. And you talk to GMs around the league, and they don't expect to really see any action until we get back from that midseason break, because teams haven't declared themselves buyers or sellers yet. There's a lot of teams who are hanging around the playoffs, the play-in games at 9 and 10, who aren't ready to start moving out their players. And so I think what Ainge is going to find is a very congested market among the teams who want to have postseason runs, to all chase after a very minute number of good players who are going to be available in that trade market.
All right, well, it's 4th in the East, but they're missing 2 of their star players, and I guarantee you that Jalen wants to know when they will be back. We need some updates on when this roster will be at full strength.
Well, you'll remember Caris LeVert, who came over in that James Harden 4-team deal from the Nets. They found a mass on his left kidney when they were doing the physical. When he came in to Indiana, it was a scary situation. He had the mass removed. And now, listen, he is moving closer, I'm told, to returning to full contact participation in practice. And there's optimism that you will see him at perhaps sometime in March, sometime around the beginning or after the start of the second half of the season. And that's a huge boost for the Pacers to get LeVert into their lineup and finally get him integrated to this team that's going to be a playoff team.
Yeah, last time we saw him, he had 5 straight games with at least 20 points, and that was the longest streak that he had in his career. But let's talk about the Raptors and Kyle Lowry. Now, remember, Nick Nurse and 5 coaches will not be able to coach because of health and safety protocols. People are calling for Kyle Lowry to be like the coach player. But is there a chance that we could see Kyle in a different uniform with a different team as this season progresses?
The possibility exists, Maria, but I think this is going to be very much of a two-way conversation between Masai Ujiri and Kyle Lowry and his agent Mark Bartelstein when we get to the deadline, that's at the trade deadline March 25th, about where the team sees itself heading this season, what Kyle Lowry might want. He's obviously a free agent at the end of this season. The team's very invested in Fred VanVleet and some younger players moving forward. But the one thing that I know about how Toronto is going to handle this with Kyle Lowry, they are not going to just trade him to some outpost, to send him to a lottery team or a bad situation. I think he's done too much for that organization. Masai thinks too highly of him. So I think there'll be a conversation as they get closer. But I would still be surprised to see Kyle Lowry in any uniform other than a Raptors this season.
All right. Well, been there since 2012, and it's the all-time assist leader is Kyle Lowry. And in case you missed it, the Woj Pod had Carmelo Anthony on this week. It's outstanding. So wherever you download and listen to your Woj Pods, make sure you tune in.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.